Okay. So this piece of equipment is called a slab roller. The great thing about this is the one that we have is portable. So what that means is you can take this piece off, you can take this other piece off, you can take this separate, you can even unscrew this and take this, and this goes underneath. So super portable. That's a great thing if you want portability. It's not a great thing sometimes in a classroom because then this falls off and you're like, oh, I broke it. Nope, didn't break it. There's a little pin that sticks out here. There's a little notch. Line those up, and all you have to do is tighten. The other thing with that, notice the handle. Handle is super loose. That's going to happen a lot. There's a little nut on the back. Tighten that up, and now your handle is nice and tight. Okay, so there's the things you might run into. The other problem you run into with the slab roller, because it is portable and we have it on a counter, notice how easily that could come off of this edge. If this comes off of this edge, what's happening to this? Do you see this inside of here? It's not level now. So this side is higher, this side is lower. So just some things to be aware of. So make sure that this, in fact, is up on the counter. You should be able to see some counter surface here, and you'll notice it's been there. It's been kind of banged up. And then the next thing to do is to make sure you have two pieces of fabric. So the fabric is canvas. There should be 2 layers. You never want to have clay make contact with this roller bar. Look at the texture of this roller bar. Imagine cleaning clay out of this roller bar. That will remind you very quickly to never let clay touch this. If it does, you are responsible for cleaning it. About the only way that I found to clean it is to take a lot of water and a scrub brush and really get after it. It takes a very long time. So instead, let's not make mistakes. Let's not let clay get onto here. Always keep your clay between 2 layers of fabric. Slab roller sounds just like it is. A slab is a flat piece of clay. A roller, obviously, is going to roll this so that it gets it to that. How thick it is depends on your measurements out here. This outside edge, and it says it right here at the top, is in inches. The inside is in centimeters. What you see here is exactly the same thing you see on the other side. So just trust me on that. I want to start about 1 inch. 1 inch comes all the way down to here where it says 1 inch. Do you need to zoom in on that? Or
Yep, I do.
Cool. You're so good. I can turn both of these at the same time going the same direction to get them to 1 inch at about the same time. Otherwise, this will change height, so you can have it one side higher, one side lower. But for this, I want to try to get both sides to 1 inch as fast as possible. Why 1 inch? I've just found that that's a good starting point. It doesn't mean that that's where it has to be. So I'm trying to get the tip right there on the 1. I'm going to look on this side. Oh, look at that. I'm right at the 1. Yay! Space-wise, notice I can get my fingers underneath it even, right? So just showing that there's a lot of space. There's 1 inch between the roller and the canvas. Now, if I roll this clay and I tried to roll this under there, this is clearly more than 1 inch. Notice my hand barely fit under there. I need to flatten this piece of clay down to about the width of my hand now, or the height of my hand. Let's do that in between layers. One more thing to think about. When I go to place this, if I place it here, that's not going to make a lot of sense because I'm rolling it. It's going to extend it out here and it's going to get off the edge of the canvas, which means it's going to get onto my roller. So when I'm starting, I start it closer to the roller side. Okay? Next, I'm going to press this down so that I'm getting it just slightly above 1 inch. If you've ever taken a CPR class, this is about what it feels like. Staying alive, staying alive. All right, good. Let's put this piece of canvas on top. Now, because there's space in here, there's nothing grabbing this, if I turn this roller, nothing's going to happen because it's just free rolling. I'm going to step in front of you. So I have to go to this side. Now, watch this handle. When I pull this fabric, notice how the handle starts to turn. Now I know which way it needs to go, and I continue that through until it comes all the way. That's 1 inch. I can take a look at it. Ooh, 1 inch slab. If that's what I wanted, I would stop there. However, that's not what I want. For this, I want something that's going to be a square, but I want it to be about, what size is that? 2, 4, about 7 inches square. So I only go about 1/4 inch at a time. So I'm going to go from 1 up to 3/4. And I'm going to turn both at the same direction until I hit 3/4. Same on this side, and I'm going to reverse what I just did. I'm going to pull my fabric on this side until the handle starts to turn. I crank my handle until it doesn't go anymore. I pull my fabric slightly away. I'm going to take a look at it. Now I have to make some decisions. It's now a little bit longer than it is wide. So if I want this to be a square and I keep rolling this back and forth, it's just going to keep getting longer, and this width will never change. So at this point, I'm going to rotate it because I want a square, not a rectangle. So now see how it's wider this way? When I roll it this time, it's going to extend it this way and make it more square-like. How thick do you want it to go? That's up to you for whatever project you're creating. For this purpose, we're actually going to make a platter. So I'm going down 1/4 inch each time, so I'm at half. So I did 1 inch, now 3/4, now half. I'm going to pull my canvas. It engages. If you go more than 1/4 inch, the problem that I've run into, this canvas only has so much texture. The texture on this is what grabs that canvas. If you're trying to do 1/2 inch at a time, you're going to be over here cranking this wheel really hard, and it's probably going to rip my canvas. So about 1/4 inch is as far as you want to go. Each time I pull my fabric back and take a look, that's getting to be a really nice square shape. Now, because I'm going for a platter, we know that it's going to be based on your block. So it needs to be 3 blocks wide. So I'm going to kind of lightly put a little dent just to see if I'm 3 blocks wide. Right at 3 blocks wide. It needs to be 3 blocks long though. Notice I'm going to be short on this end. So I need to roll it again, which is fine because I'm not going to end it up here to half. I'm going to go ahead and take it to 3/8. I know I said do 1/4 inch at a time. When I start getting closer to my final, I actually start doing a little less just so I can see what it's going to be. I'm going to roll this. Now, also you have to consider, what is your design on your platter going to be? Are you going to put a deep design into this? If you're putting a deep design into this, stop at 3/8. If you're going to be doing something lighter and thinner and not so deep, then go to 1/4 inch. So now you have to make those decisions. Before I take this off, a couple things I want to point out. Can you zoom into this? Can you see that? That's an air pocket. Can you see that little bubble? Mm-hmm. So that happens. If that happens, one thing you can do is take a needle tool or take a pencil and just kind of poke it and then run it through one more time. That way you don't get a chance of your clay exploding in the kiln. I'm also going to check this again to make sure that I have 3 blocks wide. So 1, 2, 3. I'm right at the very edge. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. I'm right at the very edge. For my peace of mind, I would roll it one more time, right? So one more, a little bit thinner. So even if I wanted to do a thicker design, just for the sake of the amount of clay and the size that I had, I would do it once more. Now, I can also make this decision. See how it's narrower here and it's wider there? Look what else I could do. Just to be safe, I have to be very careful about this, right? Because if I put too many big dents into it, I'm only getting this 1/8 of an inch less. If I rotate it this way, if it extends beyond here, not a big deal. All I do is take any tool, chop off the excess, set that aside. So now when I roll this way, I'm going to feel pretty confident. Now, be careful. Make sure that your fabric is covering the tops all the way across, so make sure it lines up. And I'm going to go to 1/4 inch. Now the cool thing you can use a slab roller for is like mugs, where you want the top edge to be slightly thinner than the bottom edge. You can make this edge higher or lower compared to this one, and that will automatically give you that kind of angled slab. This is my last roll. Now, because this side over here is awkward, I always like to do 2 rolls anyway. So I'm going to roll this back again at the same height. And now we're going to take it to our space. I don't want to grab my clay. If I do that, it's just like with this piece. You can kind of just see without me having to damage the big one. If I grab this piece, no matter what I do, it's going to put little dents in it, and I don't want that. I want this to be really consistent. So instead, I'm going to take the entire piece of fabric out, and now I can transport this to my desk. Okay, go and push stop.